Hello, everyone. I'm Reto, co-founder and CEO of Testing Time. Today, I'm here with Roger Doodler. Can you quickly introduce yourself, who you are, and what you do?
Sure, thanks for having me. I'm Roger. I'm the founder and CEO of Frontify, and we are making a brand management platform for brands, obviously. And so it basically helps brands to stay consistent and to basically enable anyone in the organization to create branded content. And yeah, that's what we
Cool.
do.
Awesome. The reason why we are talking here today is I read an article the other day from UX Mag about the title is Branding is Dead, Customer Experience is King. So very provocative title. And we know each other several years already. And I know with Frontify you are in this branding space. And I know I'm coming from this UX CX world. And I thought this would be a perfect topic to talk about it. And I know like you help companies improve or manage their brand and bring in consistency. How do you handle this whole topic at Frontify? I mean, do you eat your own dog food with your own platform, or how do you manage the whole branding aspect for Frontify?
Yeah, I mean, good question. I mean, we try to obviously use our platform as much as possible, but everyone knows, like eating your own dog food is normally it's not as easy because you're so critical and everything. But we try to do that really broadly in the whole organization for many things. Whether it's marketing projects, collaboration, design collaboration. But also obviously our own brand portal, having our media library in there, having our templates in there. So we do that quite broad. And we also, regarding the brand itself, we try to really understand ourselves. So we try to put a focus on our own brand because we believe the culture and our own brand is really key to be different than our peers and our competition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also what we sell. I mean, we believe in brands, we believe in the importance of brands, and that's also why we invest a lot in our own brand.
Interesting, because me as a UX professional and also my company's fully in this space, I always believe like a great user experience, and if you look at customer experience across different touch points, that's all what matters. If you get this right, then the brand will evolve automatically. And when we kind of talked a bit before, you see this difference. So can you kind of make your pitch here?
The pitch. I think, yeah, it's really a good article, and I think it's a cool topic to discuss because there is kind of a tension between very UX, digital project focused view on it, and there is this holistic view on it from a brand perspective. I think what you really see often is that, as you said, when you look at a project like a redesign of a website or something, normally people try to just focus on that specific experience, so that digital experience, for example, and not necessarily they really look at what the brand actually stands for and then transform it into that experience. And there is a kind of a mismatch in terms of understanding that when you look at this digital project, you don't really think about all the other pieces of the organization where you actually want to have a consistent experience. And I think there people kind of underestimate the value of the brand itself. So specifically if it's a smaller company or a not so tangible company like a software company like ours, I think even those companies should really first think about who they are and what their beliefs are, how they behave, what their personality is, and then actually bring that into and use that as a foundation to then build on top of that before they actually start building like nice looking designs or concepts in a website or so. So
Mhm.
these fundamentals are extremely important then for scaling your business,
Mhm.
because it makes marketing efforts easier, it aligns the whole company,
Mhm.
it makes strategic decisions easier, and
Mhm.
overall it differentiates you from the
Mhm.
competition.
Mhm. What the article makes like a great example, if you a brand in a way makes a promise, right? And if you end up assigning the task of a rebranding project to a digital team, they may end up getting everything great in all the digital channels, and someone buys something online and everything feels great. But as soon as they go into the physical world, which is another touch point, if you don't think about that, the consistency also through this physical channel, then it kind of, you get lost as a consumer, and it breaks in a way also your expectation and your promise. And have you seen this like with some of your customers, like some example there where the consistency broke? And
Yeah, I mean, there is a number of examples where, specifically in bigger companies, it's rather hard to ensure consistency throughout all channels, right?
Mhm.
So one example that you see actually pretty often in many companies is that just certain areas are really disconnected because they are mainly driven by a certain product, and the product is in the focus there. So
Mhm.
they don't really care about the brand itself. So when they put out a poster somewhere or billboard,
Mhm.
they just don't care. They might have an event or something which is completely mismatching the actual brand,
Mhm.
or they have a presentation
Mhm. Mhm.
that they do internally or externally, which is not following any of the
Mhm.
guidelines. So this is really something very common,
Mhm.
and that problem, yeah, I think people just forget that, as you said, for a buyer, or for a customer per se, it's super important that they have something in mind when they think about your brand. So they know you stand for this and that and that. And when they then see something that is completely different and is not visually not matching, but also from the messaging not matching, they lose trust. So what happens is you basically slowly destroy your brand. So if you specifically have a very global known brand, people underestimate the fact that they slowly decrease the value and slowly destroy the brand when
Mhm.
there is some slight little touch points that are not consistent
Mhm.
anymore.
And you made a great example in our pre-chat about Apple when they have a premium corner in every regular store. So outside, like the Apple store, they have the premium corner, so you don't start comparing Apple products with like all the other products, to just give it that promise, we are premium and great. And I thought that was a great example too.
Yeah, that's a really cool example that I use quite often, because for Apple, everyone knows it's one of the best, probably one of the best brands in the world, and they really nailed it when it comes to delivering that idea, that belief. They
Mhm.
stand for quality, they stand for
Mhm.
innovation,
Mhm.
and they stand for design, and they want to have this experience consistent, either if it's sold in an Apple store, if it's sold in another store that
Mhm.
is not from Apple. They ensure that it's kind of an environment that feels like Apple.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if that wouldn't be the case, you maybe see like a laptop next to some other laptops, which basically then don't really
Yeah.
feel like Apple. So you kind of think more about it, and then you start comparing. Then you start not thinking about the brand anymore and
Mhm.
just buy it.
Mhm.
But then you look at price, then you look at the performance,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
then you look at all these attributes, and
Mhm.
maybe then you find, oh well, this other laptop is maybe better than that one. So you compare on another
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
Not emotional anymore. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So basically, that's not what you want as a brand, right?
Mhm. And it's also great that it's not an accident that Apple makes sure it is in a premium corner, and this is part of their branding strategy. But I want to kind of go to the next topic, which is Apple and all the other big brands. They are well known, they have money to ensure this. But for us, for example, I mean, I think we are a smaller startup, and we have like we have some styling guidelines. We have a design system. We have these little things, and now we're even planning to do like a redesign. And I find this a very challenging thing. Is like, is this really something we can go in and make a big project out of it, or should we just, as a startup, we cannot afford this? Or, I mean, how do you see this? I mean, you're a bit, I mean, you're bigger as a company, and for you, it's probably also as a branding company a much more important thing. So, how do you handle this, or what do you recommend to me, and for testing time, how I should approach this?
I think first of all, it's a good start if you just think about brand. You know, if you think about who you are and how you differentiate from others.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of getting away from just focusing on your offering,
Mm-hmm.
rather thinking about who you are and what your belief is, what your mission is, what your vision is. And as we discussed earlier, you have a great vision and a great mission.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, it's a good idea to think about who you are, because not only because of the product and the positioning, but also because of the people that you hire. So when you really know what you stand for, then you can also hire people that are actually aligned with these set of values, with these behaviors, with this personality. So it makes you just a much, much stronger culture in the end, because it's much more aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I believe that even for the smallest of the small companies, it makes sense to just ask yourself, why do I do this? What is my belief?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we believe in PDFs are dead, you know, for guidelines, and we use it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a simple thing, but there can be even bigger beliefs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make the world a better place in some sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if you spend the time figuring out what this actually is for you,
mm-hmm.
then there is not some competitor that just offers the same thing and there is no real differentiation. But people not only buy your product, but they also buy into your belief, and they share the same belief. So they even if you start selling something different, you know, if Nike starts, I mean, they mainly sell shoes and sports clothing, but they can also sell something different. Or if Apple starts to sell a car, people would just buy it because, you know, if they kind of stand for that, then people just buy it. So brand is really a long-term investment that is worth it and makes everything just more efficient in the end. That's why I think do it from the beginning.
Yeah, that was also for me the biggest takeaway doing this pre-chat and talking about this topic right now is like, we have a vision and mission statement. Our vision statement is a world full of happy users. And I always thought like, well, this redesign, you know, let's just make it a bit more modern and up to date. And that's not true. And actually you can help me understand, hey, go back. Where do you come from as a founder? What was really important to you back then? And those values, are they still embedded? Are they going to be represented? Your vision and mission statement, is this kind of built into whatever you do in this company? Does everyone in the company believe in it, and also the customers believe in it, or they want to be with you because you have such a great cause? And that really was an eye-opener for me, and I'm looking forward to my journey going into this. And I know you are also in the middle of this journey. Maybe as a last thing, what can we expect now from you coming out as the branding company?
Yeah, we are always trying to stay on top of the game. So actually our goal is to become, you know, a best in class example of a brand, and we are not yet there, but we're working on it. And I think it's a good exercise also. I mean, branding is something living, right? It's something that you do all the time. And it also makes sense to, from time to time, revalidate your identity, kind of, whether this is by asking your employees or customers. And generally, it's something that always evolves over time, right? So sometimes we are now like 135 people. When I started off, I was alone, but over the course of these like 7 years, things change. You know, it doesn't mean that the core beliefs or the core values or something changes, or the personality, but generally maybe the the angles are slightly different, or you think bigger maybe. And I think this makes sense to just from time to time revalidate that. And we're doing that as well. And I think you touched on a very good point before that, like when you look at the mission and the vision of a company, I think this is a good starting point as a critical thing to ask yourself. When you have a mission and a vision, do you believe that you're using this mission and vision not on a daily basis, but regularly in conversations to validate your decisions? So if that's not the case, then potentially they are not strong enough, or not edgy enough, or so they should be like a North Star in where you're heading, and you should always kind of revalidate what you're doing against those. And I think if you reach that point, it's such a powerful tool for your employees and for everyone out there, for your customers, to just be extremely aligned and focused on a clear journey.
That's a really great ending, and I want to say thank you for this chat with you. It was I find it a super interesting topic, and I also want to encourage all the listeners and watchers of this video, try to take different perspectives. So me as a UX professional always thought like UX is the only world which counts, and talking with you I learned no, there's this other world. Branding can also be the leading principle. So just try to change your perspective. That will open up your mind, and stay curious, stay hungry, and make the best possible every day. So thank you, Roger, for joining me.
Thank you for having and giving that opportunity. I think it was really interesting also to talk about this.
Thank you. Cool.
And I wish you good luck with the whole series. I know it's the first time you're doing this, so I think it will be exciting. And
yes.
Always love talking to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Likewise. Bye, Roger. Have a good day.
Bye bye.